What's another example? Orcs Must Die Unchained. I'm sure that they loved their product, but it felt like they were trying to capitalize on the MOBA craze, and so they built Orcs Must Die Unchained to be a MOBA first, and not Orcs Must Die 3. And then when they realized that nobody wanted the MOBA to begin with, they got rid of it, and they were left with like Orcs Must Die MOBA Fusion, and it wasn't as fun. Like, I didn't enjoy Orcs Must Die Unchained. The traps felt weak. The characters felt useless. The enemies were, like, weirdly spongy, and, like, there's this really slow progression system. And I didn't really enjoy that, because it felt like it lost its soul a bit. And, like, I think soul is very important when it comes to games for me. You know, the more you love a game, the more obvious it's like it is in the development. So I brought up Monster Sanctuary earlier. That is a game made by a guy that effectively was like, I like Pokemon, I like Metroidvanias, I like, I think he was inspired to even make the game just by Stardew Valley, which doesn't really have a whole lot of bearing on the game, but it's very clearly made by a guy that, like, has some interesting ideas and just wanted to make a game. Stardew Valley is another example of that, I guess. You know, a game where the person legitimately wanted to make a fun product. What other examples? Owlboy, Crosscode. Crosscode is a great example of a game made by people that just wanted to make a real good game and had the skill and know-how to do so. You know, this one, I'm not sure about this. These guys have a weird... This game is kind of weird, because it really does feel like they were kind of just going for, like, a quick cash grab to fund the development of their main game. Flamebound? I think it's Flamebound. I'll have to take a look at it after I'm done with this. After I'm done with this game. Hollow Knight. Yeah, Hollow Knight's a great example. Hollow Knight is a masterpiece made by people that knew what they were doing, had the skills to back it up, and really, like, put their all into it. And it shows playing the game. Like, I don't know how many of you guys have played Hollow Knight or seen my series on it, but, like, that game is amazing. And, like, I think I always have that problem with AAA games a little bit. It doesn't feel like a lot of AAA developers are... It almost feels like the developers aren't really at the helm of the project. Like, I'm probably not going to play Red Dead Redemption when it comes out. I think it comes out, like, today or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. It comes out whenever, but I don't care. I'm not going to be playing Red Dead Redemption. They've got some interesting ideas, but everything I ever have heard about Red Dead Redemption switches between, like, this game's going to be amazing, but oh my god, the developers are awful. Or the management of the developers is so bad. Like, apparently it's come out today that it came out today that Rockstar specifically leaves people out of the credits if the person leaves the project midway through. That only the people that make it to the end of development get to be in the credits. Let's see, isn't the new Spider-Man DLC out? If it's not out now, it'll be out soon. I'll have to load that one up. Yeah, 100 hours per week. And admittedly, there's some hearsay on that's, like, not consistent. But I think what it is, the deal with Red Dead Redemption is that it might not be 100 hours a week for everybody, but it was probably, you know, 60, 80 hours a week for everybody for the whole project. Past the conceptual phase. And, you know, hey, you're not required to put in all this overtime, but if you don't, everybody else is going to hate you. You know, the kind of, like, low-key peer pressure of, like, you know, if you don't do this, you effectively have no future in this company. And it's like, because I've been there, not much, But there were definitely a couple of times where the boss was like, yeah, we need you to pull in like a lot of overtime to get this project done, and like, we're really glad you're doing it, but it still sucked. At least I was paid overtime. But I can totally see how the mentality would change. You know, it's like, well, we don't really care about you, so just put in a couple extra hours here and there, and it'll be, it'll be fine, game will finish, then you can get a break. Oh, game's done, we don't need you anymore. We're cutting your hours, or just, letting you go. And it's like, I don't like that. People need to live. And so I always get a little dodgy about developers and like, and whenever I hear the like putting in like 100 hours and everybody's like so proud of crunch. No, you should never be proud of crunch. Crunch is bad. It's actually bad for the people. It's bad for their families. Bad for the game dev. Like, I work 100 hours a week, probably. My life has been crunch for the past 4 years. It wasn't as aggressive when I first started my channel, because I was just doing it as a hobbyist project. But I knew baseline that like I was gonna have to put in a lot of work to get this to. I was gonna have to put in a lot of work to get this this career underway, and I still put in like a stupid amount of work when I probably shouldn't. But I do, and like most people should never work as much as I do. I stream for, oh geez, anywhere between 6 and 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, plus I spend most of my days prepping videos, getting them up, making thumbnails, communicating with people, developers, getting emails together. Like, I don't get a whole lot of free time. That's the only 100 hours. I've never timed myself, and I feel like if I did, I would probably start questioning things. But part of it is, for me, working 100 hours a week, I like my job, and I am... There are four parties that benefit from how much I work. 5. Twitch and YouTube, obviously, and myself. Those are the main ones. And then Shell, and then Curse, my network, gets a cut. Otherwise, it's all me. And, the more work I put in, the more I get out of it, so on and so forth. And yeah, I could work less and probably, there's some pretty heavy diminishing returns that I've hit. Which is why I'm gonna, like, push myself a little bit less to finish every single series that I ever start. I'm doing a bunch of Let's Tries now, because I find them to be, fairly relaxing and satisfying. Yeah, that boss is not worth enough EXP. I was expecting a huge chunk from one of them. But, I'm not on call. I don't have a boss breathing down my neck. The only thing I have to worry about is the public opinion of the internet to determine what I do. And so this is why I can see all of these indie devs putting all of their life into their projects. Hearing about some of the... let's restart. Hearing about some of the developers for, like, Owlboy and whatnot. And, how many long hours they were sinking into Owlboy to make it good. And, I can understand that because it was their baby, and it was their dream, their passion, and they didn't have anything, like, standing in their way or, like, taking away from them. And I always feel a little bit bad for AAA devs when I see, like, iffy management practices, and I'm like, that's gotta suck a little bit working for some of them and being like, this isn't my baby. I'm just a cog in this machine, and nothing I do necessarily matters. Which is part of the reason why I'm, like, kind of super mad about the whole Rockstar coming out and being like, we only put people that make it into the end in the credits. I'm like, that's not okay. Like, if I was on a project and I had to quit for any reason, say, oh, I don't know, my parents are dying, I have to go back home, I don't make it into the credits, I'd be furious. Like, yeah. What am I? What was my contribution? Meaningless? Let's see, I'm gonna be one of those channels that does 3 episodes on a game and then move on. No, I'm actually... So what I'm gonna do, and you guys will probably... Well, I mean, this series is a perfect example of what I'm going to be doing. This was a Let's Try. This series started as just an experiment. I was like, alright, let's just load this game up, see what happens, and see what people like. And if people like it, then I'll do more on it. And if people are like, meh, then I won't. Easy as that. And then I'll still do series on the games that I actually want to do. But I'm not going to... The problem was this year specifically, I was only doing series on games that I wanted to do series on. And so pretty much every episode 1 was started with the intention of finishing them. And that's a little bit tougher because, like, you know, sometimes I'll load up a game and I don't like it so much, or it's buggy, or it's early access. And it's like, well, I could stick it out, but it's gonna, you know, it's gonna drag me down a little bit. AI War. I like AI War too, but it's buggy and it's frustrating. And people aren't as interested in it. And, like, I could stick it out, and I know a lot of people would like me to. But when I put out this video, for example, it had like 4,000 views in overnight, pretty much, and was like, oh, okay, people actually, like, really want this. Sure, let's give them some more. But, you know, obviously there has to be kind of the middle ground of, like, not every Let's Try can be a series, just because I might actually be able to get up to 100 without putting clothes on. But no, I don't want to be one of those channels that only does like 1 to 3 videos on a game and then stops. There will be those not infrequently. What was it recently? World Ends With You. I want to go back and finish World Ends With You at some point, but I physically I can't do it. The game's controls are too jank for me to be able to comfortably play the game. I don't like motion controls. Any game with motion controls instantly makes me lose interest. So you wonder, will I be doing the Fallout 76 beta on the 30th? Yep, I already got it pre-ordered. I'm gonna be doing a bunch. But, you know, so if it turns out that people are, like, really, really stoked about a Let's Try that I did, yeah, I'll go back to it. And that way I can actually cover all of these games. Because I feel really bad for every developer that ever sends me a game that I don't finish. So, like, what's a good example? I was given a game called Shadows Awakening back at the beginning of September, but I couldn't play it because I can't click constantly without hurting myself. And I feel legitimately, like, guilty for not loading that game up and doing a video on it, because, yeah, I feel bad. And I want to go back and do some videos on it. And actually having the time to, you know, even just spending 30 minutes to be like, hey, this game's cool. I think I would feel a lot better about myself. Because otherwise I feel kind of like a leech. You know, I don't want to be the person that gets all these copies. He asks for some of these copies. Because sometimes I have to, like, put myself on a list. And then I don't get to it. And I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. You know, the developers were nice enough to give me a copy. I should actually cover it. Because I don't want, I don't know. I don't want to be exploitative. Because I've had that happen a bunch, you know. Giving people stuff and then kind of expecting something in return and then never getting it. It hurts a little bit. One of my PR firms, I saw a tweet from them, which is actually kind of what inspired this. And they're like, you know, if we send you a copy, just please, if you're not going to cover it, it's cool, we get it. But let us know when you do, or if you can't, or so on and so forth. And I hadn't really thought about that too much, but yeah, you know, they're doing all this work just to get us copies, and if we request one but don't use it, we should say something. And my problem is, like, I'm an ostrich. I bury my head in the sand. You know, I have so much work to do, it's easy to just close my inbox and be like, nope, I am full. Doesn't matter how cool this game is. Doesn't matter how passionate the developer is. I am too busy to cover the game. And then the game just never gets covered. And that doesn't mean that I can cover every single game. You would not believe how many, like, weird things that, you know, I should never... Probably should never even get on Steam. I get keys for those. You know, Squirreltopia, Soda City. I'm sure those are passion projects, but, like, those games needed a little bit more quality control, I think, before they hit market. And, yes, this is 500 times speed. But the good stuff? I mean, they probably deserve at least half an hour of my time. So I'm trying that. And sometimes, yeah, it might not even be half an hour. I did a Let's Try on a game, The Greater Good, earlier today. It was fun. It wasn't bad. It reminded me of kind of like an indie version of... like a super indie version of Final Fantasy VI. But with like a different visual style and whatnot. And then like some weird, both cringy and actually funny humor. And it was just like, yeah, I can kind of get behind this. As a game. But then it crashed at like the half an hour mark. And I'm like, it's close enough. And this extra EXP boost is really helping out. Because we're, what, 74? And we haven't even finished the ocean? Man, when did I hit level 100 last time? It was like in the pumpkin zone. Or, not last time, the first time. I don't know why I'm being so particular about properly balancing all of my skills here. It's not actually necessary. See, my boss said that one of the best companies that we used to contract with doesn't anymore because he got too busy and never called back. To say we went with another quote. Yeah. I remember the series, right, where it was part 1 and then finale. I love those games. There are some games... So, actually, for the greater good, there was one point, you know, kind of classic situation. Main character gets stabbed fairly early on in the game and falls into a river, so on and so forth. And I was really tempting to just cut the video there. You know, I said something pithy to the extent of, like, you know, and so the hero dies, evil wins, the end. And I was really tempted to just cut the game there and just have that be a one-episode series. But I figured it would, you know, wouldn't be fair to the developers for me to do that sort of thing, because, you know, they want me to get... They're hoping that I give the game a fair shake instead of turning it into the butt of some joke. You know, stuff like, We Happy Few, I think I could get away with the Episode 1 finale situation. Same thing with Far Cry 5, though you would be surprised at how many people get furious at you as a YouTuber when you make, like, a weird joke situation like that. Let's see, so I didn't pull a Far Cry 5 for Greater Good. No, I didn't. It was so tempting. Because, like, I love weird, dumb jokes like that. But I know that the YouTube in general does not like it when I try and pull tricks like that. So I've given up on that, at least for a while. Let's see, what game is this? Great Hero's Beard. It's an idler game that I am, it's an idler grinding game that I'm effectively, I'm not gonna say destroying, but I'm trying to do, like, a ridiculous, super speed turbo grind up to ridiculousness. This really does remind me of Disgaea in a lot of ways. Let's see, sounds like one day a week of Let's Tries. I mean, I could do like Let's Try streams. I'm probably gonna keep most of my Let's Tries off of stream unless people want me to do, like, yeah, just go nuts. Cover a bunch of, like, indie games that I have never covered before. Let's see. You never upload the end of a season, as I didn't the ending of Setsuna. I did! I Am Setsuna is a complete series on my channel. We did finish that. It is all completely up. We haven't finished Lost Sphere, though. That's one that I know Shell and I both would like to finish someday, but like, time is such a villain. Because, like, I love RPGs. JRPGs are some of my favorite games of all times. The problem is, they're so long. You know, right now I'm struggling to finish Valkyria Chronicles, and I want to go back to finishing I want to go back and finish Dragon Quest XI, because they're both fairly decent games. They're also like 40 plus hours long, and it's like you can only do a couple of those a year. And if you're doing like 3 or 4 of them at the same time, because there's also Pathfinder Kingmaker in the mix, like those games. Oh, and Crosscode. Like, if I want to do daily episodes of that, that's 5 series. Throw in Octopath, which I haven't finished. World Ends With You, Okami, what other... Oh god, the amount of dead JRPGs on my channel is overwhelming. Digimon Story Site... Digimon Stories, Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory? Right, Cyber Sleuth is the first one. Hacker's Memory was the second. But, yeah, too many games, not enough Wander. It's a problem, you know, I kind of was starting to dive into the Kingdom Hearts series. And, like, I still want to finish it, but, like, I need to sleep at some point. And it sucks, because it's like, on one hand, I want to finish everything I start. I also want to cover every game I'm given. I want to play all the cool games that come out, and it's just like, well, what gets the axe? Free time. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts. I still am committed to that. I think... I'm not entirely sure, but I think Shell's gonna be gone for part of the holidays, and hopefully I can finish up, like, Valkyria Chronicles and stuff. Yeah, did I ever finish Witch and the 100 Knight? No, I didn't. I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna finish the Witch and the 100 Knight games. So that's a completely different thing. I don't like it when I load up a game and I run into something that I actually, like, philosophically disagree with. And so at one point in Witch and the 100 Knight 2, because I effectively was going to do start and finish Witch and the 100 Knight 2 and then go back to 1. Problem is, one of the, like, first bosses you run into effectively threatens to have her minions, her mind-controlled minions, sexually assault the main character. Ish. I mean, sort of main character. Hollow Knight's sort of the main character. I don't know, whatever. And I had to stop there and be like, no. You know, I don't want that. This is not something that I'm going to tolerate on my channel. And I lost all interest in the series. Because I'm not interested. I'm not interested in that. So how far can you get naked now? Well, I mean, this is about as naked as I'm gonna get. However, yeah, I can beat the Horseman. We can get freaking far without any clothes on. I don't think I'll ever be able to beat this game without clothes on, as the equipment scales faster than stats do after a certain point. But I'm one tanky sucker, without pants or a weapon beyond the little, like, club that I've got. But yeah, I can get up to level 100 naked, no problem. And it looks like we just hit our limit at Neftcock's Graveyard, which shouldn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me too much. Like, the stat scaling in this game is pretty good. You don't actually need gear that much. But I'm hoping that I can get farther. Really, I just want to be able to get up to level 100 without a whole lot of effort, so we can just retire up to 30 times. Let's see, can you beat this game? Yes, there is an ending to it. The problem is the boss is like 100 million HP or more, and, like, I want to get there. Oof. See, please say there's a streaker achievement that requires a naked run up to the final boss. You know, I haven't checked. Let me see what the... Oops. Let me see what the achievements are. Okay, it doesn't seem to like speed hack on. Okay, let's check this. So, it looks like I'm missing 3 bosses. 100,000, or 3 bosses, 3 achievements. 100,000 HP, deal 1,000,000 damage, and defeat Demon Lord Baal. Or Baal? I don't know. But that is the, those are the achievements. So, no, there's no nudist achievement, which actually disappoints me greatly. 100 million isn't much compared, or 100 million. It wasn't, was it 100 million? No, it's just 1 million. Sorry, there was a little 100 next to it. But yeah, 1 million, 1 million is totally possible. I've definitely hit 100,000. It's just, you know, tough and time consuming. But it's a shame that there's no naked run for this, but also this game does start scaling real hard at this point. You know, the enemies go from, you know, tens of thousands into hundreds of thousands to even millions on some of the bosses, and it's like, yeah, that's gonna be tough without clothes. Yeah, no fun achievements. Yeah, it is a bit disappointing. And thank you, Shlomi Ha, for the 6-month resub. Beard! Yes. I'm gonna be disappointed if this guy doesn't end up with a galactic beard. I'm noticing the beard is still getting longer at this point. But I want his beard to not even be white after a certain point. I want to see the universe in there. I'm also a little bit disappointed the rest of his body doesn't get, like, notably hairier as he goes along. Okay, looks like 110 is still kind of my max here. Let's see, can we get a beard emote? Do we want to do a wander beard? Because, I mean, we could do a wander beard. I do have a beard. Not much of one, though. But yeah, I could do a wander beard. I just haven't been able to do much artwork due to my hand injury stuff. Part of the reason why I haven't gone back to the webcomic thing that I was working on. I'll probably restart that after, like, NaNoWriMo, maybe. Let's see, why is the orc kid full orc? I'm just gonna say, the main character here is probably incredibly genetically compatible. I've totally forgot his name. They only said it, like, a couple of times, and I've totally forgotten. So what do you gain on retiring? You gain 5 stat points that goes up for every level past 100. You gain 1 skill point, which goes up by 1 every 10 levels past 100. Maybe you only get 1 at 120, I'm not entirely sure. And you also get a 50% EXP boost, which goes up by 4% for every level past 100. So, you could pretty easily just, after, I want to say, retirement 10, you don't even have to put clothes on until you hit a certain point in the game. And it's worthwhile to do so, just because the clothes are, like, a notable benefit. But it's a waste of time managing gear up until you need it. And at this point, I don't need clothes until after I hit 100. At which point, I just don't put clothes on. My stats are silly. I don't necessarily like this song from the Wandersong soundtrack, but I think it is my favorite song just for the scene. If you guys haven't seen our Wandersong series, really go check it out. It's so good. Main character must have a bunch of recessive genes. Yeah. Wasn't that the lore between Solid and Liquid Snake? One of them had, like, the superior genes, or the all-dominant and one had all-recessive, or something just goofy nonsense like that. I want to say that was the case. Or Solid Snake, maybe. Man, I actually have heard rumblings that they might continue making Metal Gear Solid games continually, like, without Konami. And they might be bringing David Hayter back on. Or they might just be doing, like, a remake, remaster situation. I would like that, maybe. It'd be interesting to see... what a truly Konami-less Metal Gear Solid series would be like. Probably not very good. Let's see. Started watching Wandersong a couple days ago. Don't know why I didn't continue. It's a bit slow. There's a lot of just talking to NPCs and can get a bit sluggish. But that game, I don't think I've run into a story-based game as good as Wandersong in a long time. Crosscode is pretty good, but it doesn't quite hit me in the feels in the same way. Crosscode is by far the better game, and I love both of them to bits. But there's just something weirdly special about Wandersong. Whoops. That I've not seen from another game. Let's see, what's that thing next to the mermaid? Oh, the smiley face? The smiley face is a deal with the devil. That's how you retire. Reset yourself, gain the bonus. Oh, don't I mean Kojima? Yeah, sorry, Kojima Konami. It's too close in names. Okay, 126. Oh, we're so close off of a elite EXP multiplier. I don't think we actually would have been able to make it. But yeah, for those of you that haven't seen my Wandersong series, there's a certain point when the two main characters are effectively dancing in like a dance hall or whatever, and they're just having, I want to say, one of the most earnest heart-to-heart moments I've seen in a long time in any kind of media. And it was so satisfying just like watching that unfold that I'm like, I always feel a little bit disappointed when you know, you have the big heart-to-heart moments in other games or media now, because it's just like, it's not as good.